think a lot of times when people think of sales, they think of that guy who knocks on your door and it's like selling the bleach thing. Right? Yeah. He's like spraying your shoe, like, I'll be wider than Michael Jackson after transition, right? And like saying all these like,
I hope to not be that guy.
No. Let's go. This is another episode of the Athletes and Athletes podcast. I'm joined by my guy, Ricky Lewis, a.k.a. Rolo.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sirski, former professional soccer player, LA Galaxy, Colorado Rapids, USA Soccer, from H-Town, Houston, Texas. Man, that is a dangerous combination. You got soccer in Houston. Like, if you don't know, you just don't know, right? And Ricky right now is the king of sales over at Stryker, the medical corporation, huge company here in America. And when I say medical technologies company, don't go like, what? Like, we'll break it down. But Ricky, we got to skip the small talk first before we get into all that other stuff, right? So right now, how does it feel to be the prime babysitter while your wife Leslie is commentating and broadcasting the World Cup over Australia? I'm sorry she left you.
You know what? I tell you what, Noah, if I don't get Dad of the Year this year, I'm going to be really hot, man.
I'll be hot for you.
I mean, I tell you what, I just took all three girls to Houston to go visit the family, and I felt like it was game day. You know, I worked out this morning, and I was like, you know what? I had the iPads charged. I had the extra battery pack. I had the snacks packed. And I tell you what, man, we had a good time. But you know what? Proud of my wife. She's doing her thing.
Killing it.
It's been a great opportunity to lean in with the girls and have a good time and, just be dad.
How does it feel like you are like part of a sports ownership? You have ownership in a sports team. That's something that not a lot of really successful people are able to say. They're successful as well. I'm talking about people from Fortune 500 companies, people who've sold companies, right? Like, there's only so many major league sports teams in the U.S. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's been an absolute blessing watching this thing grow from its infancy to just an idea. I remember when they got the phone call, and the Angel City team was what really was a catalyst to Bay FC. It's this whole NorCal, SoCal rivalry. So when Leslie and Allie and Brandy and Dee, they started having conversations about this, it was a no-brainer for Rolo to invest and just be a part of the journey. So it's really cool to see where it's at now, and now you got 6th Street involved, and they're playing at PayPal Park, and I'm excited to take my girls onto the field and just give them that experience. So man, we're super excited, and
you're gonna take me on the field, bro?
Of course, man.
You got me.
We should do a podcast from
PayPal.
PayPal, the suite.
Hey, now.
Let's go.
Should we just take this equipment and just move it to San Jose? That would be crazy.
Why not?
If Bay FC wants to be innovative, they should have a podcast studio. And like, if their players want to make content, or you want PR team to really get the word out of Bay FC, right? Because you're still growing the audience.
I may know some people at Bay FC that can help you out with that.
Well, I'm trying to help you out with that because you're part of you want to grow Bay FC. Now, like, I want to see Bay FC grow too. So here's my advice: put a podcast studio in the city.
Hey, listen, I'm down.
Yeah. So. Yeah, man. Well, this is a long time in the making for you.
Yeah, we've been trying to do this for like 4 months.
So long, man. Man, get your babysitter.
Leslie had to go out of town for this to happen.
I know, 100%. Hey, the stars aligned, kind of funny, but we made it happen, man.
We did.
We made it happen. And today, the word of the day is sales. A lot of people, that could turn people off, that could get people excited.
Sales is the heartbeat.
Sales is the heartbeat of the company, right?
I mean, sales tells a story.
Right.
You want to talk about a company and what people look at, they look at top line revenue.
Right.
Focus. Yeah, okay.
Switch it to the camera. So, check it out.
Hey, camera. But sales is the heartbeat. It's the lifeline of the company.
Yeah.
So I love sales. I love everything about it. I love the process. I love the closure. I love the journey of the sale.
Yeah.
And it's every sale is different.
Yeah.
You're selling enterprise, you're selling medical device, whatever you're doing, it's all different.
Right. Ruben Harris is an entrepreneur that I really admire. Ruben Harris is the founder CEO of Career Karma.
Okay.
Ruben Harris said, sales is the quickest track to the CEO seat. If you're bringing in the money, you hold the power.
Yeah. Listen, Stryker is a sales company. And when you talk about any organization, you talk about marketing, you talk about R&D and all the different functions. but sales drives revenue. Sales keeps the lights on. So if we're not supporting sales, then we're not generating revenue. Then it doesn't matter what we do in R&D and marketing and all these other functions.
Yeah.
You know, sales is what keeps the lights on.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, and I agree. If you want to know your company, you got to know your customer. If you want to be innovative and if you want to get to the top of the food chain, you need to know what it feels like on the ground floor selling your product.
Yeah.
Because you need to know what your customer wants. You need to understand your customer. You need to know what their problem is so you can come up with the right solution.
Yeah.
If you're not in tune with that, then I think you're going to miss the ball.
Did you what did you know about sales while you were in LA Galaxy? Like, let's take it back to Ricky when he had hair, he had the taper fade, the taper fade, right?
You know, the funny thing about that, my hairline just kept going further and further back as I got older. But
well, I think that happens to a lot of people, right? Like, I don't think you're not in a unique bucket. But,
yeah, I had to go with the fresh bald head. But I'll tell you what, man, I honestly didn't know anything about sales. My dad was in sales my whole life. So he was a pharmaceutical sales rep, and then he sold caskets, aka underground condominiums. And then him and my mom.
Hold that thought. He sold what?
Caskets.
Caskets. It's called caskets?
Yeah, he worked for Batesville Casket Company.
You said underground condominiums?
Condominiums is what he called it.
Okay.
You know, ha ha ha. So,
yeah. So condoms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. So,
yeah. Sorry to cut you off. On Spotify, put this as explicit so people know.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, so he was always in sales, and so my dad was just a very extroverted personality, excellent at just building relationships and just connecting with people. And so he was, he was the guy that I always looked up to in terms of what it looks like to be a sales. So when I was transitioning out of the league, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so my buddy was like, hey, you should try sales.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not trying to, mess with corporate America, and, I want to stay with soccer. And I went through this whole thing, like this whole, identity sort of crisis, and had to rebrand myself. And, Stryker happened to be the perfect landing place because they hire so many ex-athletes. And as I was researching sales opportunities and looking at that function, 100% commission, you grind, you kind of control your own destiny.
Yeah.
And just all of those things resonated with me. So that's what got me sort of in that industry.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of times when people think of sales, they think of that guy who knocks on your door and it's like selling the bleach thing, right? Like the breeze spray.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, with the suit on.
Yeah, with the suit on, right? And he's like spraying your shoe, like, I'll be wider than Michael Jackson at the transition, right? And like saying all these like catchy phrases and stuff. Have you seen that guy?
I have seen that guy. I hope to not be that guy.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like that's what I think a lot of people who aren't super versed on, sales in your process may think like that's what it is, right? And I think in your case, there's probably, and for tech companies or anything around your ecosystem, there's a way that you go about it. There's a process. And I want you to help shine this light on this process because you've really mastered over the years, right? You've done this for over a decade. Not to date you.
Yeah.
But
the gray beard.
Yeah, no.
You know what? Yeah, it's, the sales process, as we were talking about, whether you're selling enterprise or medical device or cars or whatever you're selling, there's a few consistencies.
Yeah.
Number one, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And what it comes down to relationships. It comes down to accountability. When you're going through the sales process and you're introducing yourself to a customer, you're qualifying them, and you're going through that process and overcoming objections and presentations and ultimately the close. You're going through that process, you're building relationships. And it doesn't matter if you're selling to the C-suite or if you're selling to a surgeon or if you're selling to a procurement buyer at a company, it comes down to relationships.
Right.
And so for me, you can talk about the strategic process of selling, but if you don't have those relationships, if you're not connecting with people on a personal level, I don't think you're going to last in this game. For me, I'm working with surgeons, we're working with patients, we are serving patients and hopefully making healthcare better. So I have to be, number one, on my A game on a daily basis, but number two, build deep personal relationships with my surgeons and my customers so that they, number one, know me,
Yeah.
and trust me, because again, at the end of the day, there's a patient on the table.
Yeah.
And so, and you don't do that overnight. So a lot of times it's asking questions, and it's a long process.
Yeah.
You know, it's long-term relationships that we're building. And some of my surgeons now are some of my good friends.
Absolutely.
You know, we hang out, and it's
you're hanging out with one after this.
That's right. Exactly.
You can go kick it.
That's right.
We're on a time limit. We got to get to dinner. Get that beer. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So whatever industry you're in, at the heart and core of selling, it just comes down to relationships.
And really quick, because I want to get back to the process, but I think we should talk about this earlier rather than later. What specifically is Stryker selling? What have you been selling the past decade?
Yeah. So Stryker is comprised of 22 different business units. And so what I sell products for cranial and facial reconstruction. So I sell to plastic surgeons, oral surgeons, ENT surgeons, neurosurgeons, and I also sell another bag of products called for neurosurgery. And that's more of a capital type business. And I'm selling high-speed drills. I'm selling tissue removal devices for tumors and stuff like that. So, I carry two different bags, which is pretty rare in Stryker. One's more implants and one's more capital focused. But I'm selling to neurosurgeons, spine surgeons, products to take out tumors, to reconstruct your jaw, to fix a fracture in your face, anything above the head and neck, really.
So, soccer player from Houston plays professionally, and now you're selling facial reconstruction devices, things to help you fix your teeth, your nose, everything up.
Like, what?
Yeah, right? Like that's, but I say that also like, you've killed it in this game, man. Like you have actually like staken your claim in selling this stuff. And the point I'm getting at is if you can go from what you like were doing to having so much success in a med sales role, there is clearly this process that you've mastered that anyone could potentially apply, even if they work for a company that doesn't have to do with sports. And so back to the sales process, right? The way I was sort of taught about sales and my premature thinking, I love to then bounce it to you, is when you're figuring out who to sell to, you have this like group of people, and you can think of the sales process maybe as sort of, do you think of it as like a funnel where you have at the top of the funnel, you have potential clients that you're vetting to see, you're qualifying. Like a lot of people, if I said, hey Ricky, like sell me that water bottle, you're not going to be like, hey man, buy it, right? Like you're going to see if I need the water, like you're going to qualify first. How do you think about your funnel?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times, it's funny. A guy told me that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and this is something that I've tried to get better at over the years. But just asking questions and extracting information. And so when I think about my business and the funnel, as you want to call it, I've got customers that are already working with me and that are buying my products, and then there's a service component to them. There's also a component of, can I extract more business from those customers, the pull-through opportunities? But there's also new customers and new business that I'm trying to obtain. And, we pride ourselves on growth. And so if you're not going out there and targeting new business, then you're not growing.
Yeah.
And so I've got to be strategic and be very thoughtful in the way I carry my business, because I've got to target new business. And when I'm targeting new business, I'm looking at, okay, what are they doing? What types of procedures are they doing? What's the ROI? How much time am I going to put? Are they using a competitor? Why are they using a competitor? So there's a lot of research and intel that needs to go into that process to try to convert that surgeon, or try to get, maybe they're a new surgeon in town or a new customer. And so there's a lot that goes into, but I need to do a lot of fact finding, a lot of digging to get some information. And then I could start to devise a game plan of how I'm going to try to work with that surgeon or convert them from my competitor to using me. So, but at first it starts with information. So I need to ask a lot of questions. And once I hopefully get in front of that person, I like to think that I can connect with most people. And so once I'm...
You're right, yeah. Pretty solid,
So once I'm going through that process, I just try to build rapport. I try to connect on a personal level. I'm someone that prides myself on hard work, service, and a lot of times some of these products have similar features. So they want to work with someone they like, they trust, and that they know is going to be there for them when shit hits the fan. because again, you're in an operating room. There's a patient on the table, so you have to be dialed. So I've had some late nights in the OR. I've been through some crazy surgeries where it's been, if I wasn't there, then that surgeon would have had the products that he needed or wouldn't have known what to do in that situation, because they rely on us a lot in the OR, for
to know what your products are doing on the patient.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes I'm working with residents who are not, full on attendings, and they're asking me questions about, hey, how does this work? Or what size drill do I use? Or what screw should I use? So that's where I have to put on my consultant hat.
Oh my
So
Lord.
I'm not really selling, I'm servicing and consulting in the OR about, hey, this is what I've seen in the past for these types of surgeries. This is what I would potentially advise.
Bruh, I needed you for my surgery.
What'd you have surgery on?
Hell were you? Bro, in high school, I went up for a layup, fell on the ground and won, and a guy was running. My face is on the ground sideways, and he ran through like my nose. So I dislocated my nose.
Oh.
And I got surgery, and I think this shit's still crooked. And
Can't even tell. No, it's straight.
Oh, you
kind of. Well, from this angle.
Look, I am Jewish also, but also it's like still, I wasn't the same. Like, he didn't fix. Where were you to give him the proper tools?
If it makes you feel any better, my third year in the league, I had a ZMC fracture. So if you look at this scar on my face, I broke my cheekbone, my orbital floor, and sort of what they call the zygomatic suture over here as well. And so,
wow.
Yeah, called a classic tripod fracture. And,
oh Lord.
Yeah, and I'm not.
Well, you can't be two Rickies.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Where was the other team? Where was Noah?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, man, it's a fun industry. Every day is a little bit different. You're seeing all sorts of crazy stuff. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. So okay. Clearly, like this process, right? You have the information, you get to know them, and then they'll start to see maybe that they need your product. This is clearly applicable to a lot, like almost anything, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a little case study here.
Okay. Can
you sell me this water bottle?
Are you thirsty?
I'm a little parched. I just got off a panel.
Yeah, you've been talking quite a bit. Yeah.
I know. Well, thanks for saying I talk too much.
When was the last time you had some water?
About an hour and a half ago.
Okay.
So.
All right. Do you have any favoritism towards sparkling water or still water?
Yeah, look, I don't like sparkling water.
Okay.
Sometimes it gives me the bubble guts.
Okay, fair enough.
So I just, I'm going to keep it still.
Okay. Well, have you ever drank sparkling water that's been open for a while? Because then it starts to taste like still water. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, like sometimes my little brother left the water out, and he's like, no one touch it.
Okay.
He leaves the room, and I might take a swig or two.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be, how long are you going to be doing this podcast for?
In terms of like months or this current episode?
This current episode. Maybe another 30 minutes or so?
Right. Yeah. Maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you might, if you get thirsty, I'd love to offer you this sparkling water that it's been open for a while, so it's going to taste more like a still bottle of water. And I've heard, great things about Topo Chico. So
what do you know about Topo Chico?
From Texas.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And the relatability.
So I think that's where you're from, buddy.
That is a fact.
So if you're interested, I'd love to, sell you this water bottle and maybe just try it and see what you think.
How much does it cost?
It's a good question. I think it's about $1.99.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. How much do you normally pay for a bottle of water?
Usually like $4 or $5, man. San
Then
Francisco is, it costs me $40 to breathe here. Man, it's expensive.
50% reduction right there, man. That's on sale. Why wouldn't you try it?
Damn, you're good. That was good.
Thank you.
That was really good.
I knew you were going to say that.
That was good.
I knew you were going to bring that one up. So that's why I had to have some stuff ready to go.
I set you up. I wanted you to bring the prop in.
You did. Well played.
Yeah, man. Wow. And he's taking a swig. Dude, he's like basking in the glory.
Yeah.
So how do you think, I think a lot of athletes have the salesman in them, the Ricky Lewis sales capability, but many of them don't know that it can be harnessed. I mean, for me, when I stopped playing, I never thought I would go into have a sales role or et cetera, and it ended up happening. What is your perspective, if you've thought about it all, on how to get athletes more excited about sales?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I was listening to your panel earlier, and it really rang home because there is this imposter syndrome. There is this, I'm too cool to go into corporate America, and I'm not going to do that type of role. I'm going to stay in sports and stick with what I know. And what I would say is, first of all, if you're an athlete, get your degree. You can always fall back on that. But number two is get out of your comfort zone and try some different things. The thing about sales that I love and that the skills that are transferable for athletes is that specifically in sales roles and at Stryker and Med Device in particular, it's 100% commission. So you got to grind.
You got to go get it.
You got to go get that chicken. You wake up every day with this number hanging over your head. And so as I think about next steps and sales and specifically Med Device, if I'm not out there getting it and if I'm not out there grinding, then someone is going to take my lunch money. Someone's going to take food off my plate. It's just like being on a team. If you're starting, someone behind you is trying to take your starting spot. And if you're not starting, you're trying to get that starting spot. And so that's just like sales.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go out there and you got to grind. You got to hustle. You got to be relatable. You got to be accountable. And ultimately, I mean, you got to be intelligent. You got to know your product. You got to know what you're selling and just be able to build relationships and connect with people. And what athletes have are life experiences. And so when you're sitting in these operating rooms and you're talking to surgeons, you know, people want to talk to you because you're interesting. You've done something different. Yeah. You know? And so all those things sort of play into these sales roles that I think athletes are the perfect candidates to go into sales roles because also they're team players. They help build culture. Yeah. They're natural leaders if they've been on the field. Now they're, you know, maybe leading a team of sales reps. And so there's so many skills that transfer into sales if you've been an athlete, whether at multiple levels, whether it's college or professional. There's so many things that transfer into being a salesperson.
What if I'm not an athlete and I want to get a pulse check on if I could do sales or not? What would be a good way to test that?
We have tons of sales reps and sales consultants is what we call it that haven't been athletes.
Yeah. What's their like traits that like make them stand out? You know?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they want to grind. They want to hustle. People that are willing to roll their sleeves up and work hard. Again, you have to have that intelligence piece. You have to have that relatable piece. And again, it comes down to building relationships. So when we're interviewing candidates, you know, what's their conversation like? Are they asking questions? I like to know about their background. I like to know how they grew up. Did they have to fight and scrap, you know, growing up? Because I feel like that's what it's going to take to be successful. You know, there's a lot of folks that try to get into this game, but they get weeded out after a year or two because it's too much. Yeah. You know, so.
It's like Kentucky, baby. It's going to be one and done if you keep BSing and not getting these surgeons, these craniomaxillofacial devices.
Hey, you said that pretty good, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we might be looking for somebody like that.
Hey, man, you know, if this A&A stuff doesn't work out.
So, but yeah, man, I honestly, I feel like we recruit so many ex-athletes, and even if you're not an ex-athlete, whether, you know, we recruit people from Xerox and Enterprise and all these different companies because they have such great sales training programs. Yeah. But ultimately, I think it comes down to the character traits of that person. Yeah. You know, do they want it? Are they willing to work hard? Can they build relationships? Can they be held accountable? And do they want to win?
Can you compare the Stryker sales program to a sports program? Meaning, like, is Stryker like Kentucky where like you're like one and done, or is Stryker like Duke where like I'm recruiting you for years? You fit the culture. I've seen you in your current environment, and I think you could be translated here. Or is it like back to Kentucky? If you knock this out of the park for a year, you go into the league. You get in that what is the sports program comparison?
The interview process is we ask a few questions. We make you run a 40-yard dash. We see how many times you can bench press 225. Vertical jump.
Oh, I don't know about that one for me.
Well, you're a basketball player.
Yeah, I know, but they used to clown me on my vert, so
clearly you're above 25 inches.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's not good?
No, not in basketball.
Okay.
You got to be better. Bench press is my thing, though.
Okay, yeah, you got kind of swole.
Yeah, not applicable to basketball, unfortunately.
True.
So that's why I'm on a mic right now talking to you in office.
Yeah. A nice office.
It's a good one.
You know what? I would say the interview process is pretty strict. A lot of times, so when you come in as a sales associate is what we call it, you're there for a year, 12 months, 18 months max, and then hopefully you're getting promoted to be a sales rep. And then you pretty much run your own business. I mean, you run a small business with the backing of a Fortune 500 company. Yeah. And so yeah, that's kind of.
And it's all commission based? There's no base salary for.
Once you become a sales rep, most of the time, you know, maybe the first or second year, they put you on some sort of guarantee. But once you build up a book of business, it's 100% commission. eat what you kill.
Yeah.
And that's for most medical device companies. And they incentivize you that because they want go-getters.
Yeah.
You know, if you're making a salary, then you're probably not going to work as hard.
Yeah, you know, right? Like the wolf on the hill is better than the wolf climbing. Like they're more satisfied than the wolf climbing it, right? Like, you didn't get that one.
No.
That one didn't land.
Yeah, I saw where you were trying to go.
Yeah.
But yes.
I got to work on that. Yeah, it makes sense. But let's talk about if you're good at it, man. Like, I've seen a lot of people in sales and they're living life. I've seen guys on vacations and doing all the stuff and going to Europe and going to Italy.
You see Leslie's Instagram, obviously.
Man, it must be a sweet life if you knock it out in sales, right?
I tell you, I mean, it's good. You know, the opportunity to earn a good living is there.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you get into the right industry, the right company, you know, what I love about Stryker is they create this culture and they create this environment where they hire go-getters, type A, individually, you know, motivated people that are high achievers, and you give them all the tools and resources that they need, and they say, just go get it.
Yeah.
And the sky's the limit. And they want you to build your territory. They want you to grow the business every year, and we'll pay you, you know, however many commission points, and that's how you earn your money.
And correct. And I want to put this in here, right? Like Stryker pretty much only hires ex-military athletes, right?
That's definitely the stigma of Stryker. The joke is, where'd you play and where's your territory?
Yeah.
You know, like what sport did you play and what's your territory? But yeah, I mean, you know, we venture outside of just athletes and military folks.
Obviously, Stryker is completely inclusive of whoever's qualified for the job. From my perspective, I just think it's super dope that a lot of folks are ex-military athletes.
I tell you, it's a really cool culture. You go to these meetings and a lot of folks are cut from the same cloth. I saw a stat on LinkedIn where I think Stryker is the #1 hirer of ex-NFL players.
Oh.
And so there's a lot of folks that play in the league. And it creates a culture, it creates a mantra that everyone's in it together, everyone's out there to get it, and we're supporting each other through this journey. And like you talked about, that transition is real. And so that's been one of the most gratifying things for me personally is when I turn that page and I'm no longer an athlete and I'm trying to rebrand myself, I found a second home here.
Yeah.
I was able to find out, whoa, I'm actually good at something else, and there's a lot of people like me that are trying to figure out their identity post sports.
Yeah.
And so from a personal standpoint, that really rang home with me.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else you'd like to add on the sales front that's been on your mind, or you feel good about this?
Always be closing.
Hey, ABC.
ABC, baby.
ABC,
Always
baby.
be closing.
Well, let me close out this pod just like that, man. This has been another great episode with Ricky Lewis, a.k.a. Rolo. But, man, thank you so much for chatting with me, brother.
Awesome.
This was a fun one.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And, yeah, man, love it.
1, 2,
All righty.
3, 4.